Really interesting fight set to kick off our main card this weekend. We have Platinum Mike Perry taking on D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. Matt, when was the last time you heard of Mike Perry?
It's been a while, which is weird because normally his name is always in the headlines for positive or negative reasons.
Mostly negative.
It has been a while since we've heard from him.
And for Mike Perry, he's been around like a used car, but in this one, he's been training out of MMA Masters, and you see it. The Danny Chavez of the world, Miguel Baeza, Colby Covington, and maybe this is a new and improved version of Mike Perry. And if we got that, then maybe we're going to get the guy that has 4 performance bonuses in 14 UFC fights. How crazy is that? He's had 7 wins and 7 losses, and in those bonuses, we're talking Jake Ellenberger. We're talking, losses to Vicente Luque, where his nose turns to butter. We're talking about Alex Reyes, who will never fought again in the UFC, and so on and so forth. The win over Alex Oliveira, the other one. For Daniel Rodriguez, he has the 1 performance bonus so far, and we've seen the same game plan from D-Rod. It is straight up kill or be killed. This is a guy at a BMF ranch in Syndicate MMA. On the Instagrams, he's hanging out with Donald Cerrone. Who else? Bongs. This was his last Instagram story. My bong matches my shoes. And he had a fancy bong and J Balvin Jordan 1s. Cool shoes. Maybe not what I'd be doing on Sunday night before a fight, Daniel. I get it. You can now, but Daniel, you're fighting Mike Perry. That's the biggest name you ever fought. And for Daniel Rodriguez, last time out, I had scored at 29-28 Rodriguez. He lost a decision to Nicholas Dalby. All 3 judges seeing it for Dalby in that one. It was a close fight, but it was one of those, did the pressure win out? Were they the more impactful strikes? I mean, Rodriguez did outstrike Dalby in that fight. It was a weird one for me. He could arguably be on a longer win streak. He could also be on a 2-fight losing streak because War Tyone gave him every single opportunity to fight against Dwight Grant, where he was dead to rights finished, came back and finished Dwight Grant. Now you're taking on Mike Perry. It's tough to finish Mike Perry. He's not going to give out due to strikes. He'll let his nose turn to mush, and he'll breathe out of his mouth, something that Sam Alvey can't typically do in an MMA fight. But in one like this, it's so interesting because for Rodriguez, he had such a great fight against Tim Means, MMA math. For Mike Perry, he looked lost when he fought Tim Means.
Because his ears boxed in by my boy the Dirty Bird, and no one was happier about that performance than me. But this really is an odd fight, and there's a wrinkle of Mike Perry's game that doesn't get talked about, but it's the truth. Mike Perry is a good striker, and everyone thinks of him as a striker. When was the last time Mike Perry ever beat a primary striker? It's been a while.
Alex Oliveira?
Alan Jobin outstruck him on the feet. Far more technical, was able to hurt him early and then just stay at range. Santiago Ponzinibbio, a very technical striker. He will get into a brawl every now and then, don't get me wrong. But he was able to just outlast the sort of brutish strength of Mike Perry. And again, you look at the losses, Vicente Luque, Jeff Neal, Tim Means, all extremely technical strikers. When Mike Perry is at his best, it's weird. I actually think he's at his best when he's incorporated the takedown into his game, which is weird because we don't really see him do it that much. And the only fight we've ever really seen Mike Perry go for a takedown heavy game plan was the Mickey Gall fight, which is weird because you think, okay, well, if Mickey Gall has one chance to beat Mike Perry, he's going to have to take him down and submit him. But this is the thing. Mike Perry hasn't beat a decent fighter in a long time. Alex Oliveira was the last time he beat, I'll even say relevant MMA fighter, and I hate to trash on Mickey Gall this much, but let's be honest. Mickey Gall's not a UFC caliber fighter, and beating him by unanimous decision doesn't prove to me that you're still one of those 25 to 15 welterweights who can go out there and have a great fight no matter who they're in the cage with. Because for a while, that's what Mike Perry was. He had a close fight, if you will, with Luque. I know it was a split decision, but he made a fairly good account of himself. He just ate a lot of power shots as the fight progressed. But then you look at what Jeff Neal was able to do to him. And D-Rod can't throw kicks like Jeff Neal can, so it's one thing you won't have to worry about. But you said Mike Perry can eat a lot of shots. Not in that fight he couldn't. He ate a straight left and a head kick and went down quick. And I understand we're talking about some of the better finishers in the division, but my problem with Mike Perry is that everyone talks about, oh, he's got this great power, his striking's good. He never outstrikes other primary strikers, and that really does worry me because in this fight, he's not really facing another primary striker who is really technical and has that pretty kind of striking, if you will, like an Alan Jobin. D-Rod will brawl with you a little bit, and that's what's such a question mark for me because if Mike Perry brawls with D-Rod, I think Rodriguez hits harder. I think he can be more technical, but I do think he leaves his chin extremely high in the air. He's got this weird tendency to kind of He throws with his waist almost, and he does leave his chin really high. It looks very much like Luke Rockhold when he throws punches, and that worries me. If he fights a guy moving forward, let's say he does fight a Luque one day, that's going to be an issue. But fighting Mike Perry, I think those issues won't be as apparent, but Mike Perry can still capitalize on some of those.
I mean, listen, if you look at it for Mike Perry, I think the great training partner, and you talk about it with MMA Masters, there's a lot of great wrestlers there now, but the coaching staff as well. Miguel Baeza gets you pretty well ready for this one. I mean, Baeza's got decent defensive submissions, decent takedown defense, Covington for the wrestling offense. Boom goes the dynamite. Maybe you get Daniel Rodriguez like a fish out of water. The only thing is, and for Daniel Rodriguez, a lot of defensive submissions, but he understands if he gets a fighter hurt, he can submit them. Now, for Rodriguez, we talked about it. Syndicate, you have that connection with John Wood and the team over there. The BMF stuff, it is what it is. I mean, this guy is part of the entourage of Donald Cerrone. There's a lot of pictures of them out there on the internet. But Yair Rodriguez in the camp as well. Sasha Palatnikov that's on this card. There's a lot to like. For Rodriguez, yeah, leaves his head out there big time. And he's one of those guys that plants with his waist and starts to throw like a baseball player swinging a bat. So it'll be interesting to see which game plan we get out of Perry. Because if we get a wrestle-heavy game plan, this could be a totally different fight that a lot of people probably wouldn't see coming.
No, I do agree. But again, for Mike Perry, you look at the areas he has had the most success in his recent fights. He even did take down Alex Oliveira. That's my point. For Mike Perry, you really have to be dedicated to that. Because if people just know that Mike Perry's going to be that striker who's going to go out there and brawl with them, all you have to do is throw a jab and move your feet, and you can beat that fighter. But if you're dealing with a guy who will brawl with you on the feet, but he will also mix in the takedown, it's another variable that you're at least going to have to consider. And with Rodriguez, if he is leaving his hands down and someone fakes the takedown Chad Mendes style and comes over top with an overhand, your chin is going to be more than exposed. So I do think that there are a lot of defensive holes from Daniel Rodriguez that fighters in the future will be able to take advantage of. I just don't think Mike Perry is going to be one of those guys.
Daniel Rodriguez open a -110. He's a -174 right now. Mike Perry open -110. He's now a +143. And over on Topology, total votes, Matt, we haven't seen them. 1,132 total votes, 73% Rodriguez, 47% of the fans have him to win by decision, 43% by knockout. For the 23% of fans that have Mike Perry to win, 43% by decision, or 49% by knockout. So people put chunk of change on Rodriguez. The fans have Rodriguez. You tipped your hand, you're going Rodriguez.
I like Rodriguez. I don't know if we'll get a finish. I think both guys' cardio are pretty much comparable. I don't think either guy's known as a cardio king. If anything, I'd probably give Mike Perry a slight edge in cardio. Just I've seen him go 3 hard rounds with really good fighters before. And it's not a knock against D-Rod. It's just something I haven't seen him do yet in his career. I'm not saying he can't. Again, it's just Mike Perry's proven that to me. I'm going to pick D-Rod. I think he'll be able to land a big shot early. I don't know if he'll be able to get the finish, but I do like Rodriguez.
To me, it's over 1.5. That would be the official pick for me. I like
That's
Rodriguez in a fight like this, but if Mike Perry decides, hey, I'm Mike Perry wrestler now, it could be a totally different fight. So the official pick, and I've done this before, over 1.5, you've got Daniel Rodriguez, and I'll give you the pick on question mark kicks. But again, I do like Rodriguez in the fight, but I'm throwing it out there. The over 1.5. I love the fight. I have it as a possible fight of the night. Perry Rodriguez, great one. In our main event, you have Marvin Vettori taking on Kevin Holland coming in on short notice. Co-main, Arnold Allen and his dad taking on Sadiq Yusuf. Really looking forward to the entire card. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt. As we always say, let's get into it.